Attention carriers, brokers, and dispatchers. You're tuned into the eCarrierCheck channel, where we bring you the insider tips, tricks, and insights to drive your sales and logistics business to new heights. Each week, your hosts, Jared and Nate, sit down with the top professionals in the industry, diving deep into everything from prospecting and cold calling to maintaining carrier relationships and maximizing your bottom line. Learn real-world strategies, hear success stories, and get actionable advice you can implement in your business today. So buckle up and get ready for an entertaining and informative ride. This is the eCarrierCheck channel, your source for can't-miss logistics intelligence. Stay tuned.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to the eCarrierCheck show. Excited to be back. Excited to be here. We're talking sourcing today. We're talking about eCarrierCheck, and throw your comments in the questions in the chat. We're always excited to see who's here and what the audience is.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Nate, we've been off for a little bit, but we've helped a lot of different people with some interesting things that just continue to seem to be a trend is finding the right carrier.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I think what I think is interesting, of all the calls, we always get calls on sales, but today we're talking about, the site. We're also talking about how to find the right carriers that make sense for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've helped quite a bit of people. What's up, Tire Killer? How you doing, man? Hey, let me know if you can hear me okay. I messed with our mic. I know a couple weeks ago we were pretty quiet, but yeah, we were helping quite a bit of people do some quoting for some bids, which I love to do, and it's kind of fun to do it with them, and I'm sure it takes you back to your brokering days.
Yeah.
I'm excited to show you guys because we have some really good features in the eCarrierCheck site that a lot of people don't really know about. What's up, T. Landy? Good morning, guys. That people don't know about, and it could truly help you honestly save a penny or two.
Yeah.
Especially if you're just starting out. You can upload your carriers' MCs. You can monitor your carriers. You can create your own list of carriers. Thanks, Tire Killer. So there's quite a bit of features in here that a lot of people don't really know about.
Yeah.
And I'll show you guys today. Like Jared said, we helped some interesting people kind of get to some interesting endpoints.
I think that's honestly, when I think about eCarrierCheck, when we built it, I as a broker, I was too dependent on the load boards.
Mm-hmm.
I got to a point where the swing happened. Right. And nobody was calling off of them, and what do you do?
Right.
And I got to say, when we built this, we built it with that in mind as how do we be the most efficient in sourcing the right people
mm-hmm.
that run those lanes, that have the right equipment. Because I always ran into the same thing. Chicago to LA. Hey, I need a van from Chicago to LA, and they would always call in off the board.
Right.
Well, I don't go to California, or I don't have a van, I have a reefer. And so that's what I like about this sourcing aspect of,
mm-hmm.
I've helped some people in the last week that were doing some Canada lanes.
Right.
Just incredible. Didn't need a load board, covered a load in 10 minutes, made some money, and got some good service.
Yeah, that's what it's all about too. And that local brokerage here that they're kind of our test dummies here, but it's nice when you walk into a room full of brokers and they're like, oh, hey, I got this load.
Yep.
Hey, let me call Tim out of Arizona to see if he can pick up, today.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't. The reason he knows about Tim is because he picked up the phone, had a conversation with the carrier. He's like, hey, tell me a little about, where you run, where you like to go, what do you do? And now, Justin and Tim, they have that relationship where Justin can literally text them.
Which is huge.
I got a load.
That's
no load board
way
necessary.
Better. Yeah, way better than going out to the market because you don't know what the hell you're going to get.
Right.
From the double broker aspect
mm-hmm.
of things to you never had to move a load before.
Right.
And sometimes, honestly, from a trust standpoint,
mm-hmm.
I know we need to find carriers to move loads. That's the result of a broker.
Right.
But man, sometimes I just want to be able to trust the situation that they're going to pick it up and not ruin my shipper relationship.
Exactly.
So
right. Let's throw in a couple of examples here of what we've actually helped with. So people within the last 2 weeks, what we're doing. So let's run a couple of examples. Give people an idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. The nice thing with our site when it comes to looking for people and what we've been helping with is reefer loads. So if you click in a reefer, in our particular case, we were helping people to go from the West Coast, so it was up in Northern California, and they were going into the Midwest. They were going back to Chicago, so it was going to be Sacramento up to just outside of Chicago,
right.
And you can run this lane search, which is incredible, and we can see it back and forth, and that was probably the most interesting thing. So we just ran Sacramento, we ran Chicago. We're hooked up to Google, so it just kind of grabs it.
Which I love because I can't spell.
Yeah, it's okay. We can just look up Gulf of America right now. It's fine.
That's so funny.
So Gulf of America to, Mount Denali. But if you look at this, take a look at this. Now, it's blurred out on your screen because YouTube doesn't like,
personal information.
Showing all this info. But if we go into that change the lane here up there in that top left, we have the ability to shorten that radius around those cities to, maybe 100 around it or something. Mm-hmm. And then we can flip-flop it around, too, which is awesome. So this way you can see sort of head haul and back haul situations. I'll give you an example. There's 6 pages right here, right? Yep. Sacramento to Chicago. If I flip-flop that to Chicago to Sacramento, watch. There's 7 pages. So there's not much of an imbalance here, right? Sometimes you'll go and there's 20 pages and 3, right? So
what does that tell me? What does that tell me?
You'll just find the imbalance or a head haul back haul situation where it's like, there's more freight out of this area versus there's less freight out of this area.
Right.
This is pretty balanced lane, right?
Yeah. Tire Killer, I had a few brokers on a first name basis. When I was running my van, it was great. Yeah, if you get to a first name basis with brokers or carriers and just have that, you can text them. Kind of roll out of bed, text them, get a load, and it just kind of speeds up for your customer, right?
The less paperwork, the better.
100%.
You know what I mean? Gosh
dang it.
Getting a new carrier, you're doing the setup packets. There's nothing wrong with doing setup packets. It's easy.
Right.
But it's still just an added step when you know that you've already worked with them. So I find this to be the most interesting aspect is running that lane search, and then you can see what I think is interesting is kind of that Amazon-esque sort of filter system on the side where we can filter it by anything. Yeah.
If you're looking right now, you can see there's a handful of some red high-risk guys. Here's the thing. One thing I love about us, we're data-driven.
Yeah.
So everything is data-driven. It's not anything we're seeing reviews from, right? We don't have any of that. So we want to help you, at least give you an idea of what these carriers are doing, what they've been through, to help you spark a conversation. Yep. To really understand where they're coming from as a carrier. The only way to do it is picking up the phone and talking. Hey, I saw this was going on with your company. Oh, it looks like you changed your phone number, your email. Hey, I'm just curious what's going on. I'm just trying to vet you, make sure it's safe, you're a good guy, whatever.
I think something that's interesting, sorry about the cough there. I think something that's interesting, if you're a carrier watching this and you're like, well, how do I stand out? Or I get 40 emails a day. How should I respond to them or when should I respond to them? First off, if you're a carrier and you get an email from a broker, run a credit check, make sure they're going to pay their bill, right? Before you even comment or call back, even if it's a good lane. Yeah. It's like my kids. I go to Target and they're like, Dad, I need this. I'm like, well, do you have enough cash? Because we hold them accountable to a budget, right? And so don't let the new shiny toy or that lane that you need today get in your mind. We gotta think about this. Going, hey, are they gonna pay you? So I think from a carrier's perspective, how are you using the site? Well, how do you stand out? As it's quicker response, right? So if you're getting these emails from brokers, A, run their credit, but B, respond quickly. Yep. Give them your cell phone on the email. Hey, give me a call. This is a good lane. I'd love to help you. Here's my MC. Right. There's something to do there. But if you're a broker, go through here and you can see. We can show you by size. We can show you by risk. Take the risk out of it if you can. And we can even show you how old they are, things like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've got a good system set up so that you can really dive into.
Well,
I don't want to make 100 calls. I want to make 30 calls and make
Right.
make sure they're more efficient.
yeah, the calls and the emails too, right? So we have many features in here, like I said, that not a lot of people know. Mainly because it's just there's a bunch going on right here, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. We're here to help you. But let's just say there's a whole list here. There's 25 carriers per page. Now, if I'm a broker that needs to get this load covered ASAP,
Yeah.
no one's calling on the load board, or I just can't find anyone I trust. This is a good list. You can take out the brokers. I know there's a broker right there. But I like this. You can select all carriers, and you can actually export this list. And then I can go and BCC all the carriers, or I can export them and maybe text them on another app. Or if you find some good carriers that you want to keep in your pocket, throw those guys into a list. Create yourself a reefer list, going, what do we do, Sacramento to Chicago. Make that list. Throw those carriers in there. These are guys that you can go to when this lane comes back up, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't have to post. So add yourself a list, export your list. You can all do that with an eCarrierCheck. It's quite handy, and it's super fast. Saves time.
Yeah. I also think from the carrier's side, I've always had a soft heart for carriers. We do show brokers, and you can show brokers by area or city, and local brokers have local freight a majority of the time, not all the time, right? But I think what's interesting about our site is we can actually pull up and say, hey, I want to find anybody that actually has a website. They didn't just go out and fill this out, or they have LinkedIn, or they have a Facebook page. This way you have the ability to understand what's going on with them. The other side of this, too, is if you go down on our you can actually just click and say, hey, I want to find anybody that's actually showing that they do dry van. Because we're going in and scraping their websites. We're going in and doing those things. Tire Killer says, hey, I built some cool relationships with brokers.
He's on his way to Chicago right now.
Yeah, all it takes is just pick up the phone. Hey, I'm a dry van. I've been around for 4 years.
Yeah.
Is there a way to, do you have anything that keeps me in the Midwest? That's what I'm looking for. And it definitely is one of those things where I think it's worth your time to just build a brand and build multiple layers of where you get your revenue from as a carrier. And this is a great way. That's very quick.
Yeah.
Calling shippers right now, very challenging. Takes multiple calls, multiple emails. I don't know if carriers really have that time, and so building this relationship with these brokers is really important.
Exactly. A Tire Killer said he's on his way to Chicago now. Now he has a good setup right now, so he wouldn't necessarily.
He's contract guy. This guy kills it.
Yeah, and I love that man. Gosh,
dang,
he's awesome.
I do too. He needs to get to Nebraska.
Yes, he does. Not right now. It's snowing, but
that's true.
But if I was a Tire Killer in Chicago and I don't normally get to that area. And let's say I did have a customer that's going to have some frequent loads going into there. I'm definitely going to be finding some brokers and shippers in that area. If I don't have the time, I'm definitely going to try to call brokers at least.
Boy, I tell
shippers,
you what,
I get.
I think the worst thing for a carrier to do is just live in the spot market. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being in the spot market, but it's nice to have relationships within the spot market. So it's almost just a little bit. It's a little cushier of a place to live. Right. You know what I mean? Not every broker has consistent freight. Not every shipper has consistent freight unless it's a huge shipper. And so, sometimes having that layer of knowing these people, boy, it makes life a little easier.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate that. So, really good ways of at least sourcing some good carriers.
Yeah.
Whatever you're going through, we could do. We help the brokerage open up a tanker division. So if you guys that are watching that have customers that come to you, let's say with maybe bulk or whatever it may be that you're not comfortable moving, or maybe you've never, ever moved it, contact us. We'd love to show you how we can, at least take those opportunities and not run away from them. Because you've had that come up many times in your career where it's like, okay, well, I don't normally do this type of equipment, but I'm going to make it work.
I think right now it's just easier to expand your revenue with a current client versus trying to find a client, right? And so if you ask the right questions, hey, what do you have on the inbound, or is there bulk, or is there something that's outside of the mix that I'm doing now that I could be helping you with? I think that's really important that you're asking good questions. We're seeing a lot of RFPs come through right now, and so having very technical questions to ask are extremely important because a lot of shipping managers just don't have the time. Right. You know what I mean? And some do, some don't. Depends on the day. Right. But it's one of those things that you got to ask very pointed questions with those conversations.
For sure, I like that. Hey, good morning, Cheap Freight Hauler. How you doing, man?
What's up?
Hopefully you've had a good couple weeks.
How's the world, brother? I wonder if he's done. Have you done any hazmat loads, or are you still just knocking down the friggin'? Are you still just knocking down those loads that you won earlier? I always like when somebody gets a hazmat load, but he got a new shipper a month ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Let us know how that's going.
Currently on third load this week, 20 stops total.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus.
What?
Oh,
are you just doing multi-stop everywhere? Holy cow, that's but you know what? Here's the positive. That pays well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not everyone's willing to do that. Not everyone has the body to do that. And so, nice job, man. I love that. Huge. I love the grind.
Yeah.
Tire Killer doesn't stop. Cheap Freight Hauler doesn't stop. These guys are crazy.
Yeah, we got a lot of people here that just don't stop.
They don't stop. Ever.
And somehow you guys are here every week, which I love. You guys are awesome.
Yep.
Really quick, too. So for some of you guys that do have a good carrier base, I had a lot of questions, too, on, okay, how can I upload them into eCarrierCheck? So if you have a good carrier base and that you just want to keep them all in one spot, we have a carrier broker list here. Here's where you can import your carrier's MCs or DOT numbers. So every carrier that you're essentially set up with, we can put them in the system. And then going forward, let's say you post on the load board, and you on eCarrierCheck you can quickly vet, right? Type in their carrier MC DOT number. It'll show you that you are either set up with them or they're good to work with. You can even put a do not use list, whatever you want to do. You can get pretty creative with making lists and keeping yourself organized.
I think what's interesting, it's hard to keep up with who you're using and how many trucks
if you're set up with
you can get a little carried away. And so when it comes to the spot market, knowing, oh, wait a minute, I just took a call from this guy and we're already set up, boy, it saves you a little bit of time. The spot market's interesting, especially once you get a lot of calls. You always question, am I getting the safest guy? Am I getting the most competitive rate? And am I already set up with them? You know what I mean? And so you don't know that on every phone call, right? And a lot of the AI things are coming out right now where you're having conversations with computers and you don't even know it. Chief Freight Hauler mentioned this the other day. It's definitely an interesting market. The next 24 months are going to be wild in that space.
Yeah.
But I still think, at least while I'm around, that human-to-human interaction will be very, very important. I think probably 20 years from now, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll all be computers and nobody will, nobody will work. We just all just walk around and computers do everything for us.
Right.
Gosh, but
we'll see.
Right now, all I know is that humans need relationships and people need to connect, and that's really important.
Yeah, Chief Freight Hauler said, this is my nursery deal. Liftgate, van driver, unload.
Nice.
And he threw out some money, so it must be good paying loads.
You're
gonna need that, man. Take the wife out to a nice day for V-Day.
Get her an Outback. If I'm going to Outback, I love their wings, but give me a bloomin' onion. I'm a sucker for onions. I freaking love them.
Oh my gosh.
A bloomin' onion and a cold beer.
That's funny.
I know. I need to get on a diet.
Yeah, I love that, Chief Freight Hauler. Keep killing it, brother. Be safe out there too. I don't know where you get into, but the weather's been freaking
shit.
So
yeah, it's been terrible.
But other than that, Jared, anything you would like to add on the carrier side? We obviously have shippers on our database.
Yeah.
Any carrier check, I should say. Quite entertaining. If you those of you that need to add some more shippers to your pipeline, this is a really good system to get into.
Yeah.
Whether you're starting out or you're just trying to expand your business, this is a good platform to have. I know there's other platforms out there like this. But, we offer new leads. We get some really cool insights. Heck, we can show you really just about anything on that shipper, right?
Yeah.
What type of carriers have they utilized? What type of equipment should you be ready to talk, especially if you're making cold calls.
Yeah.
You got to talk their language, right? So that's our way of helping you is bringing in that data, help you kill a first call, hopefully get to a second.
Yeah.
You can leave some notes and list on here, so you can't export the shipper info, but you can keep yourself organized, let you know what was last said. So that's all there for you, carriers and brokers. I think the coolest thing about us, you don't have limits to your searches. You don't have to buy tokens. We're just month to month. If you can land a shipper within your first couple of weeks and move some loads, this is paid for.
And we hear it pretty consistently from the users. Anytime you can, honestly, at this point anymore, I think if you're making a sales call right now and you're not extremely specific with what you're looking for, you're just not going to get there. Right. And so I think that's what's unique about our shipper database is that we have the ability to make your sales calls very, very specific. You know, hey, I move stretch flatbeds, you know, specifically on Interstate 10 across the south of all of North America, you know. It makes it a little more unique. So. For
sure. Chief Freight Hauler said, "Boss lady gets whatever she wants." Good man. Or she's messaging for you. I don't know.
Yeah.
But good man.
She's the one that's watching, actually.
Yeah. I've heard happy wife, happy life. That's what I've been hearing. Tire Killer, there's nothing out there like this. Often imitated, never duplicated. My man. I love you, brother. You guys, we decided to keep this one short. Just kind of give people a quick demo of what eCarrierCheck's all about. We're still getting a handful of questions, so we hope this helped give you kind of an insight on what we do and how we do it.
Yeah.
And like I said, we are not afraid to meet up with you guys. If you guys got some RFPs coming up that you need help with, let's get together. Let's brainstorm. That's what we do. Thanks for everything y'all do. I need to grow a little, then hope to retire from driving to sales. Yeah, I'd love to see that, man.
Yeah.
Keep you home, Everyone loves to be home. So, you guys will tune in Friday. I appreciate you for being here. Stay safe if you're driving, traveling.